Good morning, fans, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Midwest Donut Review. I'm Dave Leggett in St. Charles, Missouri, the heart of America, and out on the West Coast. Joining me today is my son, Eric Leggett from Sacramento. Eric, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you two. I am doing great, getting ready for this unbelievably hot weather we're going to get.
Are you triple digits? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, yeah, we are far past triple digits.
You have 4 digits. It's 1,000 degrees in Sacramento.
That's what it feels like, baby.
Here's the upside to doing the show early in the morning. It's not peel the skin from your bones hot yet. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a quick recap. What are we doing here? Why are we doing this?
So we're going to be reviewing donuts from local mom and pop shops in our neck of the woods. Me, the Sacramento area. You, the St. Louis area. We are some donut connoisseurs, if I do say so myself. And we want to spread the good word of local donut shops to the people. Because buying away, they're always better than a chain. And it's always better to support a local business.
And our goal here is not to just rip and bash on local shops. Our goal
Absolutely
here,
not.
we're going to tell the people where to go for the best different kind of donut. We're going to do 3 donuts every show. Glazed is always going to be a part of it. If you can't do a glazed donut,
yeah, you're in trouble. You're definitely in trouble.
and so the 3 donuts I pick will be the same 3 donuts you get in Sac every time, or the area. And so your history working in a donut shop, surely there was something memorable in your time.
I mean, there were so many memories. One thing we did is we had a cutting machine. So we had kind of a big conveyor belt that cut donuts for us. But whenever we had to do different shapes, such as hearts for Valentine's Day, we had to cut those by hand. And that was brutal to say the least. And something that was very fun is the night of, they were proofing kind of weird. So our plan was to make a little bit extra and then pick the best heart shapes. And I was in charge of picking the best heart shapes. I think I went insane a little bit. I'd say about 10 minutes in, I completely forgot what a heart is supposed to look like. Just because I saw so many different variations and shapes of a heart that are vaguely heart-shaped.
Now, is this
heart-shaped.
Is this heart-shaped dough at this point still?
Oh yeah, this is the same dough we use for all the yeast-raised donuts, except instead of going through the conveyor belt to be cut, we've got a heart-shaped cutter that we smack into it. Very classic donut cutting.
Okay, and so they were just blobs to you at a certain point?
Yeah, they were super abstract shapes. Like, I didn't recognize them as a heart anymore. And I was kind of going crazy. I had to take a break and just kind of let my mind rest. But I think at the end of the day, I picked the best ones. And some of the not great ones I took home to you. And you saw. And the fun ways we got to decorate them when it's 4 a.m. and we're all completely out of our minds. And, hey, there's a piping bag full of frosting here. We can write whatever we want. Hee hee.
So I would imagine there was a little bit of hazard pay for this sort of mental stress they put you under.
We don't need to get into that. We don't need to get into the financial compensation I received.
Okay, so Jim Gaffigan, who will be on our show at some point in the future, when his people respond back to our people. He's very famous.
And our people meaning
for being a
us.
Yes, our donut. He's a big donut lover. Big donut lover is what he is. He famously said, "I had a gourmet donut once." I didn't know it was a gourmet donut until he said, "That'll be $3.99." I said, "I only want one." And then I kept waiting for him to say, "Just kidding." So I know we have a price difference between
Yes, that
generally
is
St.
one of
Louis
the big
donuts and
differences between.
California donuts. $3.99 for a donut in St. Louis, absolutely gourmet. How about in California?
I'd say on the bottom end of gourmet. I think if you want a top end gourmet donut here, that'll probably get you around $5 a piece. $3.99, I'd say like that'd be like a gourmet glazed donut. Like no fillings, no toppings or anything, but they threw gourmet in front of the title, so it's $3.99.
Is it the size of a tire? I mean, what? I don't.
No. It's honestly probably smaller than a regular donut, if I'm being honest.
Wow. Okay, so last week I hit Donut King here in St. Charles, and you visited
Donuts and Coffee in Sacramento.
Donuts and Coffee. And by and large, not a great first show for scores. My glazed.
I'd say so. I think it gives us room to grow, which is good. We don't want to start off with, best of the best and everything pales in comparison.
True. So last week, my glazed was 3.5. Yours was 2.7. Lots of room to grow. The fritters that we had,
yes.
I was a 2.6. You were a 2.4. Kind of yikes. My custard was a 2.7. And for you last week, the custard was a 3.4. That was the star of your show.
Absolutely, the custard was good. And fritters, I feel like we didn't do a good job really explaining that. That's kind of a tough donut to get really, really good. Because a glazed donut, there's really only two things at play, the dough and the glaze. But a fritter, there's a lot more going on with it. So I think a fritter has to do a lot more to be really good. So I don't fault these shops for not having excellent fritters, because it's a pretty hard thing to do, especially with my donut shop. The variety was huge, and they had a bunch of different frostings, so a fritter like that may not be at the front of their mind.
Okay, so today we're going to do the glaze as we always do, and we're also going to do old-fashioned and jelly-filled today.
Jelly-filled is one of my favorite donuts.
So your bar is set a little high. You're going to be a little snooty about this one.
Absolutely.
So it's time to get to the meat of the matter and talk about our three selections this week. So we always start off with the glaze. My spot was Tony's Donuts in Hazelwood. They're at 6045 Howdershell Road in Hazelwood, Missouri, 63042. It is a sexy donut shop, and I mean they are well lit. They have 35 or 40 different kinds of donuts. Place is hopping. It's a Friday morning, of course, but beautiful donuts. And Eric, I noticed that you have started on your first glazed donut. Can you describe your donut and then tell us where you went, how to find them?
So I went to 16th Street Donuts here in Sacramento, California, which is located on, you'll never believe it, 16th Street here in Midtown. My first donut, yes, was the glaze, and this was an excellent glazed donut. It was thick and it was fluffy. Glaze is sweet but not overpowering, and it just looks like a glazed fucking donut. You look up glazed donut in the dictionary, this thing will be sitting right in there waiting for you. It was, I'd say, a little on the denser side, but I think that works just because of how big the donut is. It's not a small, dense donut. It's big and thick, so it can afford a little density.
What is the size
So yeah, I think I'm gonna give this glazed donut. Oh yeah, this was 4¼ inches across, and this one set me back $1.35. Yeah, this was a big, fluffy, sweet glazed donut. I think I'm gonna give it probably like a 4.2.
of? Wow,
It's gonna be hard. I mean, this is about as close to a perfect glazed donut as I think you can get, unless you're getting it fresh right out of the fryer. Okay, maybe not out of the fryer. That would be insane. But I mean, I think the only way this could possibly be improved is that if it was warm and fresh, which is kind of hard to come by. Yeah, it's about as close to a perfect glazed donut as you can find.
We've done 7 donuts already, and that's our first donut into the 4s. That must be an impressive, and it's big. That's a big donut.
Oh yeah.
And we often joke about the price disparity between St. Louis and Sacramento. Mine are all $1.35. So for you to get a big, excellent donut for $1.35, that's a glowing report.
Absolutely, yeah. This is really great. Open.
So, as I said, my glazed donut is $1.35 from Tony's. It's 3½ inches by 3¼ round. It's not exactly a perfect circle. It's a little oblong, and it's 1½ inches tall. And this is a really good glazed donut. I'm not going to go into the 4s with this one, but it is really good. It is better than the glazed donut we had last week. I have a question for you. Some glazed donuts you eat, and the glaze is a little more liquefied. And some glazed donuts, when you take a bite, a lot of the glaze is hardened and falls off. What is the sort of science behind? Is it just a matter of it's been there for hours, so no matter what, it's going to fall off in pieces, the glaze?
That could be part of it, and another thing that could be part of it is how thick the glaze is. If you have a lighter glaze, it's definitely harder for it to crumble off, because when you see the crumbles, it's like chunks of glaze. And so you can really only get those chunks if it's a thicker glaze that you put on. So I'd say the thinner the glaze is, the harder it is it's for it to crumble off like that. But most of the time, it's how long it's been sitting there.
This is the classic glazed donut bite, where after you take a bite, you have it on the edge of your lips. This is the remnant. It's very clear you just ate a glazed donut. The inside is light and fluffy. The glaze tastes excellent. And again, this is the glazed donut where a lot falls off. So this is not the donut to eat on your couch. I'm going to give this glazed donut a 3.7. It's a really good glazed donut. Again, a tad small for me. I'm setting the bar high here, buddy. A little bit better than last week's glazed donut, but a 3.7, that's a pretty darn solid number. For me, if somebody said 3.7, I would go and try it. It's that good. So
I agree with that.
So while I'm jibber jabbering, you have gone on to your second donut, and today's second donut is?
It's the old-fashioned, yes. Old-fashioned donut. I'd say this is another very good donut. It's not that different than the glazed donut, because you're really working with the same thing. Just glaze and dough.
So it's technique a little bit, right?
One of the things... Yes, the technique of the old-fashioned is different. What makes it different and what gives it that crown is the temperature of the oil you fry it in is typically a lot lower than all the other donuts. So it takes longer to fry, and it reacts to the dough, so it forms that crown that you see. They're, in my experience, they're a little more fragile to work with, and it takes some getting used to perfect them for sure. And so my glazed donut, I think, was really, really good. One thing that I will knock a little on it is the inside circle did not get much of any glaze on it. So if you're just looking at the inside here, this bottom half is really just kind of bare, which I don't love per se. We talk plenty about wanting to glaze the bottom, which is difficult to do. Old-fashioned donuts, I think, can be done really poorly. It's really easy to mess it up, and so when you see one like this, it's pretty impressive, especially because the crown on this was gorgeous. Almost no, cracks in between, like a complete circle. I think I'm going to give this old-fashioned a 3.8. Definitely room to improve in the old-fashioned game, but, for a 4-inch across old-fashioned for, again, $1.35, I think this is a really good donut.
Okay, so here is my first confession. I have kind of been jonesing on the old-fashioned lately. I always have to have a glaze from a shop. That's sort of the buy-in for me. That goes without saying. And an apple fritter has always been right at the top or near the top of my list. But lately, the old-fashioned, I think I need an intervention. This is really, I can feel it in my veins. I really can't go without ordering an old-fashioned lately. And this old-fashioned today, 4 inches by 4 1/4 inches round. It's 1 1/4 inches tall. Not the biggest one I've ever seen, but again, $1.35. And before I go too far, I do want to mention, if you buy a dozen donuts from Tony's Donuts in Hazelwood, it's only $16. So the price goes down a little bit. So for $1.35, so I checked the website before I went, and it said on the website sour cream old-fashioned, which I was really interested in. But I think the sour cream old-fashioned is more of a Dunkin' stick. It's more of an oblong. I believe in the case that's the sour cream, because there is definitely no sour cream in this old-fashioned, which is fine, because this is an excellent old-fashioned. Again, really digging the old-fashioned lately, and this one is checking a lot of boxes. Dense, sweet dough. The glaze is everywhere, every nook and cranny. You had mentioned how beautiful yours looks as a piece of art. Mine did have quite a few cracks, as you might be able to see when the pics are posted a little bit later. There were some gaps as it was being fried, but the flavor is excellent. This glaze I'm going to say it's a different glaze than was on my glazed donut. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they do that. Maybe it's how it reacts with this much more dense cake. But it's great. It is great. This will be my highest score of the 5 that I've done so far. This is a 4.2. Really impressive old-fashioned donut. Is there such a thing as a bad donut?
Absolutely not.
No. But I left a little room in case somebody can knock it out of the park. But this 4.2, this is the best donut I've had so far in our 2 shows.
That is, yeah. Okay, and so our last donut is the jelly-filled donut. my jelly-filled donut was, again, very, very good. This was a glazed jelly-filled. It was 4¼ inches across, and this one set me back $1.50. So really not that more expensive than old-fashioned or glaze. And now the main thing about a filled donut is you want filling in every single bite. And I'd say you get filling in 90% of the bites here. I left this little part here because there's no filling left, unfortunately. But the first 3 or 4 bites, bunch of jelly, jam, whatever it is.
What flavor?
It was really sweet. I believe it was raspberry. Yeah, really good flavor. Really good sweetness. I think it worked well. There was a thin layer of glaze, so it wasn't way too sweet. I think I want to give this one a 3.4. Just because, if you bit from the side I didn't bite from, you're getting maybe 2, maybe 3 bites of no filling, which is not what you want. So definitely room to improve for that, but still for $1.50 and a 4¼ inch big donut, and again it was thick and fluffy like the glaze was. Room to improve, but definitely a really excellent donut.
I'm sorry, I missed. Did you say how tall that jelly donut was?
Oh, I did not measure that part.
Okay. Because I think
it's big. It's big.
Okay. So my raspberry jelly-filled sugar donut is 3.5 inches round, which is markedly smaller than yours. It is a 2-inch tall, which I don't feel is tremendously sized. And I have eaten about half of it so far, and I've had just a little bit of jelly. This is the sort of Where's Waldo jelly donut, because to eat, I'm not taking shy bites here to try to drive a directive, a narrative. But I've had 3 big bites, eaten about half of it, and just a little bit of jelly so far. And again, like you say, fill that bad boy. We need a pocket of love, and this is a pocket of I kind of like you. So I'm gonna give it's a good flavor dough, but I think it's just a little dry. I'm not saying awful, but man, the jelly kind of saves it on the inside. I just wish there was more of it. So a 3.3 is my jelly donut, and markedly better than last week's scores.
Yes, definitely.
What we have picked this time, the old-fashioned and jelly, we found 2 shops that love what they're doing and put out a really good product.
Absolutely. 16th Street Donuts is definitely unassuming. Like, you walk in there and you see the case, all of the donuts look excellent. Look really, really good. Super unassuming place. I think it's one of the better shops here in Sacramento.
So it's the number 1 shop out of 2 shows. Tony's Donuts for me.
Yes.
All right.
1 out of 2.
So here is, I just want to give you a bit of history about the donut. The first donut machine was in 1920 in New York City. A gentleman, Adolf Levitt from Russia, began selling fried donuts from the bakery. The theater crowds loved the donut, and the fact that he had a gadget that turned out the donuts faster. He invented
Was this just fried dough?
It was, well, the donut machine was giving people Willy Wonka vibes because it was the circle of dough. This was all behind glass. You could see all of this. It was dropped into the boiling oil. It was turned over when it was done. And then it was on a moving ramp like ducks in a row. So this was before the Krispy Kreme behind the glass scene. This was the first one. By
Was Willy Wonka a thing?
Yeah, everybody's seen Willy Wonka.
Did Willy Wonka already a thing happen?
Well, he was the first Willy Wonka.
But back then, were they like, man, this is...
No,
They called him Willy Wonka even though they didn't.
No. In retrospect, he was the first Willy Wonka because he said, "Come look behind the curtain and see how the donuts from heaven are made."
And what was his name again?
Adolf? Adolf Levitt from Russia, living in New York, and did it.
Yeah, that doesn't roll off the tongue. That doesn't roll off the tongue quite like Willy Wonka.
Well,
I think it's a good thing they changed the name.
I will tell you this. By 1931, he was making $25 million a year selling donut machines.
Holy shit.
25 million
selling the machines?
A year. He copyrighted and sold the machines across the country. So
were they $1 million each? What the fuck?
Well, you have to take taxes and delivery out of that 25 mil, but still, a millionaire for inventing the donut machine. So that is how you live a grand life. It is
the first ever good billionaire because he made donuts.
He actually made something. Okay, it is trivia time as we get near the end of the show. So what I like to do is give you names of donuts from around the world, and you tell me where they're from. Just so you feel good about yourself, We'll start with this. Churros.
See, I'm going to overthink this one. Because, like, my head goes, oh, it's Mexico, right? But what if it's, like, Spain or something? I'm gonna say Mexico because you said you want to feel good about myself.
It is Mexico.
So Mexico.
It is Mexico. Yes, that is correct. All right.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to spell the next one for you and pronounce it before I make you tell me where it's from. Okay? It's P-A-C-Z-K-I, and it's pronounced Puchki. Where is the Puchki donut from?
That definitely sounds European, for sure. Puchki. I want to say, like, Russia?
Oh, very close. It's Poland. It is Poland.
Ah! Damn it.
Okay, and here is our last one.
That makes my sense.
This actually, I will tell you the name of it, and you tell me what it is. This is an American donut, okay? It's
okay, America. I get the point. I win.
It's called, you tell me what it is. It's called a spud nut.
Spud nut? I have to tell you what it is?
Yes. What makes it a spud nut?
What makes it a spud nut? It's got potatoes in it.
It does. They replace some...
Because spuds.
Yes. They replace some or all of the flour with mashed potatoes or potato starch. Does it sound delicious?
I mean, it doesn't sound not delicious. I feel like potatoes are good. Most things you do with potatoes turn out pretty good.
So, the spud nuts, actually, in the 1940s in America, it was a chain of potato donut shops called Spud Nuts.
There is a shop out here called Spud Nuts Donuts.
I wonder if it's one of the few remaining.
It might. It's been a while since I've been, but I feel like they would advertise that maybe a little more. I feel like I would remember if these were like, hey y'all, we got potatoes in these ones. Like, I feel like they would have been a little more clear about that. I don't really remember anything like that, but
okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong. It's been a while.
So there's our trivia section for today. This brings us to the end of show number 2, season number 1. We want to thank everyone for listening, and we see that people are out there listening and watching for this podcast now, so people know how to rearrange their lives to fit the Midwest Donut Review into it. And
absolutely.
And so if you'll do our legal wrap-up.
Okay, none of this is legal, by the way. You are not legally required to do any of this, but share the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, rate, comment, review, everything, all that good stuff. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the stuff. Share it. Tell us some donut shops you think we should go to, some guests you might want to see later on the show, all that good stuff. Unfortunately, we are taking a 2-week break.
This has been exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely. I just can't take it anymore. Got to take a break. No.
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah, that might be it. But yeah, we'll take a 2-week break, and then the week of July, I want to say 16th?
I believe it's July 12th will be our next.
July 12th.
Friday, July 12th will be our next show. No, it will not. The week after that will be our Friday, July 19th will be our next show.
It's when we record. The 20th is when it comes out. So July 20th, we'll be back.
And I have to thank my engineer back here in St. Louis for setting up all the equipment and the sound and everything. Isabel Leggett, thank you again for making us look like $1 million. Well, making me look like $1 million. Eric Caprelli, maybe we'll work on brushing your hair for the next show.
Wow. At least I have hair to brush, buddy. Yours is like a mist. A comb goes through there, and it's like, what? Is there anything happening? What?
You know it takes me 4 seconds to make my hair perfect, and I think you're just jealous.
It's like eyelash hair up there.
No, it's like
it's
like a chia pet.
It's like eyelashes.
No, it's chia pet. You water it, grows straight out, chop it off.
That's not a positive. No one ever says chia pet and doesn't mean it as an insult.
This is me being self-deprecating. Doesn't happen often. All right, so good show. Number 2 in the books. Everybody look forward to this and look forward to the next one. Again, send any ideas of shops you want us to visit, donuts you've had that are amazing, and we'll travel where we need to travel and make this show, keep it lots of fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, Eric.
See you all in 3 weeks.
All right.
2 weeks. I don't know.
You've been enjoying the Midwest Donut Review Show. Until next time, I'm Dave. He's Eric. Thanks for joining us.